1795. What we call Great Britain has been in existence for the last 88 years since an act of union with Scotland. George III has been our king for the last 35 years. The Tories are in power under William Pitt the Younger, who we are currently fighting overseas in Europe against France, who saw a major revolution break out there 6 years ago. We live in the century of Fielding, Hogarth, and until this year, Samuel Johnson, author of the dictionary. Despite February's floods, which damaged many bridges, and the introduction of the Duty on Hair Powder Act back in May, we are keeping an open mind for the summer.
Are you filming that? Yes.
My name's Sarah Mullins and I play the character of Fanny Carew.
Hey, I'm Alex Deswee and I played some bloke with a torch and someone watching a boxing fight. I wanted to be the boxer. Oh, he wouldn't let me, bastard. What can you do?
Hi, I'm Josh Shaw and I played Peter Carp, or at the time that I knew him, the fighter in the bar scene of All Inclusive.
I'm Graham Bottrell. I played Lord Percival Adams and a couple of peasant types. I don't know their names.
Sorry, Graham. Quick interview, please. What's your character's name?
Foggiest idea. Nathan.
What's his backstory?
Backstory is he's a bastard. He was found on the doorstep of a pub and he's spent most of the rest of his life.
He looks kind of fairly well dressed and aristocratic to me.
I'm a thief. I'm a thief and a cutpurse. And I'll take anyone's money, even my old granny's if I knew who she was.
You know, I spent these last 5 years actually trying to make people laugh. So actually being able to scare someone was quite a challenge. The three things really that inspired me for the film was, first of all, Skyrim, which is a game, it's first person basically, which really does put you in the centre of all the action. It's set in a medieval sort of mythical universe really, and you basically run about with a sword and fire stuff, and the fact you can see their hands, you can see every detail when you talk to people. I thought first person would be a great way of getting everyone really into the whole feel as if they're actually there, you know, in 1795. The second influence I think really was Woman in Black, because I've always admired, you know, the Hammer horror style, Christopher Lee, all that sort of stuff, and I thought the way The Woman in Black was done, it showed a modern take on something that kept everything traditional on a historic tale, and ultimately it was a ghost story, and even though I only really jumped at one bit in it still kind of, you know, put the chills up my spine for most of the duration. And thirdly, of course, was that which I actually studied as a case study when I was doing my postgraduate qualification in architectural history. The Angel posting house in Guildford. This used to be back in the 1800s coaching inn, and it was initially what inspired the film. And even though it was the smallest in Guildford, it still had obviously the parliamentary clock, everything like that. And there's a landing there, there's a staircase which I thought would be brilliant for sort of a standoff between the judge and Robert Carew, which is ultimately what influenced me in the end.
Well, from what I can remember of what we did, I had one quite fun time with my family, Tristan and Lox. I'm sure she'd be sorry not to have a chance to talk to herself, but apparently there's a bit of harrowing scene, Tom, where you kill her, and I'm not looking forward to that because apparently that's a bit poignant, so I don't know how I'm going to react to that. We went down Staines Road Farm, is it, Tom? Yeah, and yeah, it was really quite fun. Bit of dress up, being a bit silly, you know, wondering what the hell is Tom up to, and then actually having a little bit of a look through the viewfinder afterwards and going, oh, I can see that's some good stuff there, Tom. And then we had another scene which was a massive fun. My friend Will and I dressed up like butchers and gay pirates, which was and Ku Klux Klan members, and ran around with flaming torches, which I've got to admit was amazingly good fun, although I did think we had burnt down part of the common, and was a bit relieved when I visited it a few days later and found out we hadn't actually destroyed any habitat.
I was on several shoots, and it seemed very cold for all of them. The barn we were shooting in was very cold and dirty, and then we were shooting on some green at Staines, and we got soaking wet. That was really nice.
I remember thinking like it was really cool where we shot, because I think it was like really out of the blue, and like it was like even though it was in Shepperton, it felt like the middle of nowhere. And yeah, I remember thinking like this is like a bit movie. This is like okay, he's taking me to like what seems like a location that's just built for us or something. Yeah, I remember thinking it was really cool. I remember like I was a bit nervous about getting my top off, because I don't really like. I've never got my top off in a film before, so you know when you see me on screen with my man tits out, that's gonna be scary enough, to be honest.
I remember the first scene that we played was in a beautiful manor house, and I was so impressed with it was so inspirational. The whole place was so spooky in itself, so I remember that. It's very it was beautiful, lovely paintings. It's quite an atmosphere there, so that really inspired me.
Here we are at Staines Road Farm, Shepperton. This behind me is the shed where we filmed pretty much a lot of what happens within the Red Lion. So I couldn't actually find a pub from 1795, so I figured this would do. You know, it's an old barn, I think it's Victorian, and it fits in basically because it's got that sort of rural look we're going for, you know, and pretty much a lot of the action happened here, so maybe we can go inside.
My name's Samuel Chamberlain and I'm a real life maid.
So tight. Yeah. Am I going to get it off? That's all I'm worried about.
As I have the reputation of being the rapist, do you want me to rip it off?
Great.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
I'll tell you what.
There we
A
go.
bit of lipstick and 10 pints, I could almost fancy you.
Let's all play dress up while we're here.
Oh god, I did this to my brother once. Oh, it's so funny.
You did this to your brother once?
But I
He's never been the same since.
No, that's not true. I put him in
I don't have any boobs!
I also got shoes to you as well.
There are plenty of girls in that situation.
Wait, we need to find him boobs. I take my bra off and lend it to you, but I kind of rather have it on.
Oh dear.
Not the spring to mind, Tom, actually, but you know, maybe come back to me on that one.
The only one I suppose I can tell safely is as Lord Percival Adams, I was supposed to grope a child prostitute, and Sue was playing the child prostitute and playing it very convincingly, and I'm hoping I didn't frighten her too much. Have your hands on
Sort of on her shoulders, you know.
I would suggest.
Yeah.
So you're kind of presenting her, you know, pushing her forward and so forth. Yeah.
In your dreams.
I've never like got my fists out and actually had like, you know, had a bit of a party. But no, I remember thinking it was really different. Like I've never like normally because I've done urban stuff, I've never actually done something period, and I thought well, there's no way we can do this. But like, I remember like looking at the lighting and thinking, actually, like with the costumes, like the way people are like looking at me when I'm fighting, like you had Graham like and Sarah going yeah, all that stuff. I remember thinking, bloody hell, this is gonna look a little bit like real. I remember going up the ladder. I remember like positively shitting myself that I was gonna fall down it, and because you couldn't see sod all up there, and like because you were like really, you know, you were really kind to everyone, and really sweet by not giving anyone a single bit of light to go up there with, you absolute bastard. Never actually said that to you, Tom, till now, mate, but you know, if you told me to be brutally honest in this interview, so I'm gonna be brutally honest.
Oh, I think. Oh yes, I lost. Was it? I lost an earring. I can't remember. Was it an earring I lost? That was quite funny. Because talk about finding an earring, I managed to lose in the second shoot. I managed to lose my earring in a haystack, and I mean, talk about trying to find an earring in a haystack, and that was really really funny. I mean, not at the time it wasn't obviously because I quite liked the earrings. I had this scene where I sort of was covered in blood. There was blood everywhere, and And then afterwards, I suddenly realised I'd lost an earring. I thought, oh God, you know, it was a sodding haze. I thought that was it. I'd never find it. And then I managed to find it in the end. So it was, I mean, looking back on it, it was quite funny.
Right, and then squeeze me.
I haven't got enough left. You'll never get rid of me.
You're not going to believe this. See where we actually are. Look how close we are to Shepton Studios. It's right behind me, right over there. But what we've come to see, as you can see here, is Old Manor, Littleton. This is where most of it is actually set. And oddly enough, there is a double location called Old Manor in Walton, which is quite weird, and it looks pretty much exactly like this, only it's about a century older. This is actually a Grade 1 listed building, and it's yeah, it's pretty cool. We were actually in there filming literally just months ago. Action.
You know what? Like everything's a learning curve, and I thought like it was really fun doing it all. But more than anything else, I'd have to say Fake Blood just got right on my tits. Like, well, it did literally get right on my tits. But like it was disgusting. It was everywhere because it's such a bloody sin. I was sweating like hay, and you know what I mean. Like, oh God. Felt like I worked on a farm. It was like working on a farm or something, or being in that time. It makes you wonder how shitty things were back then, really. It was a nightmare doing the last bit because we had to go up the ladder, and you were telling us that we weren't done. Pretty much done all doing my bits, but then you had to get me to play the back of someone, a figure, and I had to wear that ridiculous costume that was like, I don't know, extra large on a person who's extra small. So that was a bit of a laugh.
Well, losing the earring, I have to be honest, at the time. I think, yeah, on the second year, I didn't like so much. It was quite cold towards the end of the shoot, and I hate the cold, so that was a bit miserable. And I think having the blood, that sticky thing, and we couldn't see very well, so it was getting everywhere. That was a bit of not so pleasant. But most of it was good fun, and and a laugh.
I was a bit disappointed. A couple of times I turned up expecting there to be like a mob of people, especially when we were playing a mob, and it was only Will and I who turned up, and we were a little bit concerned about our, credentials for playing an entire mob. But once Tom had actually explained he had this software that could split the screen, it was quite fun employing a bit of physics in, saying, right then, so if we file in over here and then we'll do this side first and then we'll do that side. And I'm quite proud to have played half of an entire mob. But yeah, I suppose it would have been nice with a few more people, but then we probably really would have burnt the area down, and that might have been a bad thing.
Now, going along like that, you can see 2 people, 4 people, and to get the 5th and 6th people in, we want that image in, so we need to crop the picture. So we go to crop, and distort, transform, everything. So you can even change the size of these characters as well. So in this case, make these guys a bit taller. I want to put them in the same scene. So as you can see there, they're a little bit taller, but they look a bit too tall, so we can make them look as if they're in the background there, and move the image up out of it. Now, we obviously want to make it look like they're actually with the same people, so we can crop the image like so. And trim it, and there you have it. You've got the 3 actors in the same scene, so all together it should look like this. 2 actors, there we go, all 6 actors, and basically it's just 2 people playing all 6.
Oh, the weather, definitely, yes. Now, I thought that Tom Tom made it a lot of fun. Everyone else took it in good part. It was a nice occasion.
It's interesting because I was talking to a few members of the cast, and they said they'd had a few ghostly encounters as well. One of them had actually used to have a poltergeist, used to move things about in his house when he first moved in there. I think it's a Victorian house, he said it was. Oddly enough, I looked into haunted pubs in Surrey because there's always been an interest of mine, and found that there was a pub, I think it was in Oxted actually, I can't remember, I think it was in Oxted, where the landlord and lady actually haunted it, or said to anyway. And then when we went into Old Manor to do a bit of film, we spoke to the owners, and they mentioned that there was a little girl there who was meant to haunt it, and they showed us a picture, and it was a spitting image of what I thought Georgina Carew would look like. It was weird.
Maybe with it, I think Sean, my husband, was doing quite a bit with camera work, and I think he was saying there was some sort of shots that could be done slightly differently. Maybe on that, maybe a little bit more planning and things like that, with lighting. But you know, that's something. You know, I'm not a director, so you know, or producer, so it's difficult for me to say. But I think in any production, it's a good idea to reflect on things and see, you know, what went well, what didn't go well. But from my point of view, as I had a small part, it was quite difficult.
Well, we know how to make flaming torches now, which we didn't at the beginning of the shoot. What else could be done differently? Well, I don't know. I mean, I had a great laugh. Like I said, I would have liked a few more buddies to muck around with, but that is why we have a party. I don't know, I wouldn't change anything. I had a great time.
Seeing your little girl dead on the floor.
It all comes at once, doesn't it? It all comes in threes, doesn't it?
There's a number of preparations that could be made. As a director, he had to take on an awful lot of responsibilities. If another such period piece was done, I think it would be useful to have someone to run wardrobe for him.
I've worked on a couple of projects. If you make a film and suddenly the guy who's doing the camera work has to be in it, or the person who was acting in it has to suddenly be a sound person out of the blue, then that's when people get the ump. And I know I get the ump because people that aren't even told to do it get the ump, because it just, you know, it's nice to sort of come into a nice relaxed atmosphere. Obviously, when you're shooting a very physical scene like that was difficult, you know. But at the same time, I enjoyed it immensely. I did. I thought, because I just thought it was so weird, you know, like being like a barn in the middle of nowhere. Seeing all these faces who are people I know, but they're saying they looked all dark and evil because it was all dark in there. So I know, Sarah is very much like, oh hello, how are you? Nice to see you. And then suddenly it was all like, yeah. And I was just thinking, oh bloody hell, you know, this is like I said, it was realistic for considering we're making something period. But more than anything, mate, I pretty much enjoyed all of it really.
What I'll do is I will do what you were doing. And I'll then go behind, you follow it, and then that will bring you to the camera's face.
Yeah, that'd be good. Is that okay, Graham? Thanks.
Alright. Okay, you ready? Is everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, action!
At the end of the day, the epilogue has taken 9 months to shoot. Everyone's really worn out. It's been difficult sourcing the costumes, the locations, and even for the actors it's been quite long. It's been 2 or 3 hour shoots sometimes in the cold and rain, everything. I just really hope that it's paid off. Now we're starting to shoot the main feature, which hopefully we can do in a space of about a month. Quite ambitious, I know, but the aim is to get it out there into film festivals. Admittedly, with this horror film, I didn't want it to be a teen slasher like all the American ones seem to be these days. I wanted a traditional British film that was realistic above all else, because I wanted to see how people would react and think, well, if you were in that situation, what would you do? How would you keep your mind at ease, and how would you deal with everything that's going on around you? That really was sort of the point of doing it, really. I've wanted to do a horror film for a hell of a long time. So that's pretty much it, really. I just hope you enjoy the film.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, camera.
All inclusive, coming soon.
Lisa can replace Graham. Keep moving that way. Replace Graham. That way he can get over the other way.
One more, that ain't good.